Listen.
If you do not understand white supremacy, what it is, and how it works, everything else that you understand will only confuse you. Now, sometimes people say, well, you mean everything that I understand will confuse me if I don't understand racism? Yes, because racism is the dominant political and religious motivating force among the people of the planet in all 9 areas of activity: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. That covers just about everything that any person, minute by minute, might be doing or engaged in any time of day or night, anywhere on the planet.
It's not a race problem. We need a code, and the code you have to do is tell yourself the truth. Everybody understands that. Every doctor that's anything not going to try to scream the truth. And everybody who goes to a doctor and is serious about getting healed is not going to try to hide anything from that doctor. If they came to the doctor to get healed, that's why doctors want you to tell them the truth. Say, don't tell me that you're smoking, stop smoking, and you're still smoking. And I'm prescribing this for you and that for you on the assumption that you have stopped smoking. And black people are kind of notorious for telling ourselves things that are not true. That's why we should stop celebrating anything and call everything what? I'm not saying not to get together and do anything. I'm saying if you get together, educate, not celebrate. Balloons and fireworks, that's not education. Mardi Gras is not education. If you've been there once and taken a look at it or something like that, whether in Brazil or New Orleans or whatnot, been there, done that. All right? Now let's think of maybe coming up with a new format, a new code for Mardi Gras. See? Then the world might take up another look at us and say, these people are producing a whole brand new culture, which is exactly what we need. When we say we need to get on code, when I say it, the white supremacists have a code. What is a code? Every time you do it, it works. That's what a code is. An electrical code, a fire code, a program, like computers. I'm not computer savvy, but I understand, computerization is all about figuring out cause and effect, being logical. You can't invent a computer without being logical, without knowing something about cause and effect. You can't go to the moon and back without figuring out something by asking questions and getting answers to cause and effect. What type of fuel that you use that will go into this particular rocket, and how much heat how much heat is that fuel going to produce so that it doesn't burn up or lift off? Because you got people in there. You don't want it to burn up. You got to do a lot of figuring. And what is figuring? It's figuring out cause and effect. And what is cause and effect? Questions and answers. Answers and questions. So black people should become the most questioning people on the planet. Why? Because we have the fewest answers. So don't be, but we hesitate to ask questions, and I understand it, because I used to be that way. It's logical that I would be that way. I've been taught by the white supremacists, don't ask questions. Just walk around acting like I know everything. And that's a sure way to cement ignorance in my brain, to turn my brain into a big block of concrete. Babies come here questioning. And right up to the time you leave here, you should question. Somebody told me, some preacher told me a long time ago, even when Jesus was here, and a lot of people say Jesus is their leader, Jesus left this planet with a question. And I think it was, if I got it correctly, theologians can correct me if I'm incorrect. What was the question? My God, why hast thou forsaken me? I understand those are the last words of the person who was a great influence on the minds of people, was a question. So questions are always in order. Why? Because there are things you don't know that you probably need to know. Now, every inventor who's worth being called an inventor is a question asker. And the people, like I said, given that illustration about the moon, first of all, you say, what is that? You know, can I get there? What is it for? What does it do? What purpose does it serve? You might have 10 million questions about one thing. And that's something that the white supremacists understand that black people don't seem to understand at all. We like to strut around and think, you know, black males, many of us, tell the truth, take off our shirts, flex our muscles, put on some dark shades, cuss everybody out, and say, I know everything, can't nobody tell me nothing. Now, how many times have I heard that from black males more than anybody? More than anybody I have ever been around in my entire existence on this planet. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Well, that's a terrible thing. According to what? Neely Fuller? Logic. Can't nobody tell you nothing? Can't nobody tell you nothing? You know everything that you need to know about everything? And everybody I've seen who had that attitude has wound up in early disaster. Everybody, without exception, who said that and really meant it. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Part of the code, black people's code, the victim's code, I say, should be, I'll listen to everybody who wants to tell me anything, because I'll be learning even things that I don't want to hear. I'll still be learning. You don't turn down an opportunity to learn, period. But what is that saying that they associate with black people? The only people on the planet that they associate with black people? What's that slogan that you often hear used? If you want to hide something from a black person, put it in a book. Now, some people have said they've seen some cartoons of my work on the internet that have been presented, and that it pretty well embellishes what I have been trying to say in my textbooks. And to the extent that it does that, well, that has been, from what I understand, some people reported to me, a plus. Because they didn't understand what I had written very well, but when they saw those cartoons that just repeated what I was saying and attaching my name to it, and came right out of the book, the material did, they say that they better understood it. And I can understand that, because people are kind of visual, particularly in the year 2021 now, more visual than ever.